I want to go ahead and welcome Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, I want to go ahead and welcome you to you have a collect call from, and obviously right now we're not on the phone. We're live in the flesh.
That's right.
Jeremy, if you could go ahead and give the audience a little quick introduction of who you are and why we're here today.
All right. My name is Jeremy Hampton. I'm from Ventura, California, and I've been out for about 8.5 months after serving 29 years in prison for gang-related murder, and pretty much here to touch on the rehabilitation movement, the positive influences that these organizations have in our lives, and but ARC and Camp Gonzalez and everything they're doing for people like me, and not just me, but numerous individuals that have done long stints of time or just have brushes with incarceration. You know what I mean? They don't discriminate. You know what I mean? They're willing to help you.
And let me ask you something. So we're here, like you mentioned earlier on, a few moments ago. We're filming live and direct in Camp Gonzalez. Is it still known as Camp Gonzalez?
Yeah, it still is Camp Gonzalez. It has a LACTC or something like that is like the official name, but everybody, they still call it Camp Gonzalez. You know what I mean? And this right now is this is a new facility that they're repurposing this facility for. They're going to take it and turning it into a fire camp for cadets, for younger men that have had brushes with incarceration and they're looking to get their lives back on track. It's similar to the program that they have out there in VTC in Camarillo, the Ventura Training Center. They have, I think everybody there was formerly incarcerated at one point or another, and they're learning how to be firefighters and legitimate, be picked up by CAL FIRE, and do they make it? And you don't even know. That's big for some of these people that would never have that opportunity otherwise. You know what I mean?
And for the audience that's not familiar, just want to go ahead and throw things into perspective as far as what Camp Gonzalez is. Camp Gonzalez, it was part of the Los Angeles Probation Department camp system, which meant like if you committed a crime as a juvenile, you would get sentenced to camp, and you could be here. I think back when I was part of the camp system, you could be in the camp system between 6 months up into a year.
Yeah.
And this right here, Camp Gonzalez, was known as a lockdown facility. So
they literally have a shoe building right here. Like, I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? They're like, with all the shoe yard and everything that you've seen in prison or whatever, or I'm sure a lot of you have been there and seen it. You know what I mean? We just took a walk through it a little while ago, and it's all still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely brought back memories. Because all these camps, they look similar to each other. So I could definitely relate to the setting here where we're at, and I want to go ahead and thank everybody that made this possible. Jeremy, he had the vision, and he reached out to me, and he mentioned to me that we might be able to make this happen, and I'm glad we're here, and it actually ended up becoming real, and here we are. Can you go ahead? Would you like to share who made this possible so we could give them recognition?
Yeah, my boss, well, two of my bosses, John McLennan and Chantel Ortiz. I have prior association with them. John through the LA offices of ARC, and Chantel, she's the wife of a really close friend of mine, one of the guys that actually went and came and picked me up from prison, my best friend's son-in-law. And I proposed it to him, and they went through I went through the proper channels, and they made it happen, man. You know what I mean? They see the potential, and it's a powerful image, man. Just like a lot of people can relate,
Yeah.
And anything that pushes this rehabilitation movement forward, can show it in its proper light. You know what I mean? They're with it. Believe it.
That's right. And also, you know, I want to go ahead and give, you know, Jesse Nava a shout out because, you know, he made the connection, and also to my friend El Presidente, or you know, that's what I refer to him as not his real handle moniker. That's why I like to refer to him as.
That's the boy, man.
Yeah.
I did a lot of time with that fool, man. I kept ties with him when I got out, and yeah, it was so strange how I found out about this YouTube thing, and I was just like, just the night before I found out about it, or the night after I found out about it, he calls me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I jumped at the chance, man. You know what I mean? Because I mean, ever since I came home, I've done nothing but just move forward in my life, try to, you know, make a positive impact, man, and try to help as many people as I can to make the decisions earlier in their lives before they make the mistakes that I did.
And let me ask you something, because obviously, I mean, when you were in the street, you had a certain way of thinking, and you were involved in negative things. How long did it take you to finally, you know, realize, you know, what you were doing wasn't going to get you anywhere, and that you wanted to try something new and better yourself?
Man, I was like 37 years old, man, before I literally decided to like just leave that behind me, because I realized that I was gonna die in prison, bro. Like, for real. So I was gonna die in prison if I didn't change something, and that something turned into everything, because it was my whole way of thinking, my whole lifestyle, my associations, everything. You know, you can't just cut part of it out, because the rest of it will eat its way back in. You know what I mean? And you know, it wasn't easy. You know, and there was moments where I was just like, man, this is hard, man, because, you know, your pride gets involved, your ego. What is this? What do they think about me? But you know, once I became like involved in like NA and AA and stuff like that, and I started like really internalizing like the spiritual principles behind it, I learned what it meant to embrace humility, man, and like to know that none of those things are important, man, when it comes to like you and your well-being and the world around you, because what I was doing, the way I was living, I'm surprised I wasn't dead long ago. You know what I mean? You know, and I got a lot of things that I did in my life that I'm ashamed of, and you know, I feel bad. I have deep regret over a lot of things I did, but you know, that just gives me more motivation to do more in my life now that I have left. You know what I mean? So that's my goal. I want to give as much back to the world, more than I took from it. You know what I mean? Help as many people as I can in any way that I can.
And let me ask you, was there like one single event that happened that made you want to change? Did somebody go home, or maybe a lifer went home, or?
Yeah, man, there was, for the first 18 years of my 29, man, they didn't let not one lifer out, bro, not one. I never seen not one, I heard of one, nothing. And then one day I was on C status, bro, and I was out at Morning Yard, and I seen one of my buddies walking across the yard with a fucking box and a bag, and I'm like, hey, fool, what's up, man? Where you going? You moving or what? He's like, nah, man, I'm going home. I'm like, what? I'm like, fool, you got life. What do you mean you're going home? He's like, I got a date like 5 months ago, man. He's all, I'm going home, man. I was like, and that literally stopped me dead in my tracks, bro, and I sat there and watched him walk out the gate. And at that moment, man, I knew. I was like, okay, this is happening. Like, this is actually starting to happen now. That's going to be me, man. I made that promise to myself that morning on that spot. That's going to be me. You know, one of these days, I'm going to do whatever is necessary for me to get there, but I'm going to go home.
So up until that point, you thought you were going to be in prison for well, at that time, you know, that's pretty much what it was. If you were sentenced to one day to life, you weren't going to go home.
Going home, bro. You know, like they literally, it was business to them, bro. The longer that they could keep you in there, the happier they were. So they weren't changing no laws. They weren't trying to like reform nothing. All they were trying to do was make money off of us. I mean, granted, we deserved the time that we got. I'll give you that, you know what I mean? But at a certain point, there's, you know, every person, well, maybe not every person, but the by and large majority of people in there are capable of change, man, and rehabilitation. And but we weren't provided none of those things. You know, it wasn't until CDC turned into CDCR that they began to slowly roll out like rehabilitation programs, like making more than NA available. They started running classes like CGA and Life Without a Crutch and Gogi. And just right before I left, I graduated from a DRP program for cognitive behavioral therapy. You know, they're starting to do stuff like that with professors coming in from the streets and doing stuff like that, you know, and actually training. Now they're doing the OMCP program to where they're training inmates to be alcohol and other drug counselors, to where they're going to be in those classrooms with those teachers doing the work, you know what I mean? And they'll be able to walk out of here one day an actual certified alcohol and other drug counselor.
That's definitely exciting. It's definitely exciting. I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but it's definitely an exciting time to be in prison, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, they gave us hope back, man. For so long that nobody had no hope, so nobody had no fear, nobody had no cares, bro. You know what I mean? It was just like, this is just what it was going to be, and survival of the fittest, you know what I mean? But, you know, with the laws that are changing, with the political climate, the way it's changing, you know, there's a lot of guys in there now that are actually looking at it and being like, you know what? I want to go home, so I'm going to do the work, man. You know what I mean? And I mean, just going to the class isn't going to get you out, bro. You have to literally like internalize and embody that. You can't just fake your way through it, man, because they see that. They recognize that from a mile away. You got to go through psych evals. You got to go through all kinds of stuff. And they know, like, if you're bullshitting, bro. You know what I mean? So, you know, it took me 11 years, man, to dig out of an 18-year hole that I dug through 3 denials and 1 grant, you know what I mean? 5 years, 3 years, and then they sent me home. And that was all because I had decided to embrace the prison system rather than, you know, the reform system, you know? Had I done that a long time ago, I could have been home 11 years ago.
And right now, you just mentioned that you embrace the prison system. Did you embrace? Do you think? You know, I'm not sure. You know, if you thought about this, but did you embrace the prison system and participate in the activities or the reindeer games that took place in prison? Was because you didn't have any hope at that time when if you would go to prison, life meant life, and you were like, screw it. You know, I'm here. Might as well make the best of it and get my name out there.
That's what I mean. For me, myself, everybody's like journey in there is different. They all have different aspirations or whatever. Some people want to be those guys. Some people don't. Like me, I never really was interested in being like a soldier in a torpedo. I never wanted to be a mobster, none of that, bro. But, you know, I made it known everywhere I went, like, hey, I'm right here. If something happens, somebody's bad from my neighborhood or something like that, I'll take care of it. Or something cracks off with another race, I'll be the first wave gone. But I'm not raising my hand for nothing or whatever. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that I sat back being a good guy either. You know what I mean? I was deep in my addiction. I was, you know, doing whatever necessary to feed that addiction, you know, and I not even realizing that not only was I addicted to drugs, but I was addicted to the actual criminal lifestyle itself because I was good at it. You know what I mean? I knew how to instill fear in people and hurt people my whole life. I was taught that at an early age, you know, and I was always the guy in the back of my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to be the victim on the floor leaking, you know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that I'm the one that's getting walked off in the cuffs and be cool and be just, whether I go to the hole or whatever, it doesn't matter. I didn't care. It was just all part of the prison.
Yeah.
It was just another part of it, you know what I mean? So you could tell me, oh, you're going to go to the shoot. It's like, so what? You know, I've been there a few times, you know what I mean? But, you know, that shit gets old, man. You get weary, like, man. You know, you're not even getting high no more. You're just trying to get well, and then it's like you run out of fucking angles to work, or just, you know what I mean. So, you end up hurting somebody so bad to where you get to go somewhere else and start over again. You know what I mean? That was what I did. I just I would exhaust whatever fucking avenues I had wherever I was at. Smash somebody out to the point to where I caught a shoot term and they sent me out, and then I start over again somewhere else, you know.
And when you would catch these shoot terms, mentally, how did they affect you? Were you single celled, or did you have a celly? I know you're.
I had cellies. I was never like, the people that they give you like single cells are like either people that have been like seriously victimized in a cell, or somebody that's like predatory behavior in a cell, like constantly either smashing out their cellies or like something like that. Otherwise, I mean, I spent my whole term with cellies. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a different thing. You know, it's a lot more. You know what though? I ain't gonna lie. Some of the I wouldn't say best times that I had in there, but like focused and like on myself and my health and my everything was when I was in the SHU, because you're in there, you know, you're not getting high, you're not doing nothing. You got time to write, you got time to read, exercise, you know what I mean? You're eating regularly, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like sensory deprivation. You're literally just in a box, bro, a concrete box, like fucking 8 by 10, and with you and your celly to amuse yourselves, or the TV, you know what I mean? And it's like, you can only watch so much TV, bro. Before you've seen I've probably seen every episode of every sitcom that's ever been on 5 times.
So you used to watch Seinfeld when you were in the SHU?
All of that. I watched every sitcom that was ever popular on TV ever, you know what I mean? And then now that they got digital TV, that was even better. That was cool too, because then I got to see a bunch of shit that I never seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, so what was the longest time that you spent, you know, in one of those SHU terms?
Okay, I remember I caught this is like a battery I caught one time, but I had caught in a 3-year period of being in Calipatria, I had already caught 4 batteries. You know what I mean? And then they do my little SHU term, kick me back out, SHU term, kick me back out. And then the last one that I did, they were finally tired of it. Sylvia Garcia, she was a warden. She was like, man, I'm tired of seeing your face, man. And she's all, so like the day that we went, because like a month before your murder's up, before you get out of the SHU, they take you to committee and they figure out what they're going to do with you. Or they're going to keep you there, or they're going to send you somewhere else, or whatever. And it gives them like a month to do the paperwork or whatever. So the day that me and my celly were supposed to go, we go down there, we're like, yeah, fool, we're getting out, blah, da, 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 da. And then he goes in and he comes back out and he's just shaking his head. And I'm like, what's up, fool? He's like, we're fucked. I was like, what? He's all, man, they just gave me a new lockup order right now. I was like, for what? So they're going to give us indeterminate, bro. I was like, huh? And like, yeah, for real. So I did like the 6 months for the little battery thing, and then they turned around and made me sit there for 2 more years in the fucking, and they didn't even transfer me, bro. I was supposed to go to Corcoran SHU, and for somehow, some way, they forgot about me, and I just sat there in that hole for 2 years on top of that 6 months, and then every 6 months they review your stuff, and then I remember after like the last time that I went, Sylvia Garcia, the warden, she was in the committee that time, and she's like, man, you're still here? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, how? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, you put me up, I never left. So they ended up taking me, and she's like, look, man, I'm gonna go and ask the officers of how you are and what you've been doing back here. And I actually stayed kind of out of trouble for probably about the last 6 or 7 months of it, just because they wouldn't let us out nowhere. We were stuck in the cell, you know what I mean? And they're like, no, he's cool. He didn't give us no problems. So she's like, I'm gonna give you one more chance. And I'm like, all right, cool. So she kicked us out. They were opening a new yard over there on Sea Yard. And I was only over there for, man, maybe like a month and a half, something like that. And boom, we smashed some dude out again and went back to the hole. But we were lucky, man. We got there and we went to committee. I'm like, damn, I'm fucking done, bro, done. And then, but she wasn't there. She was on vacation. So I was like, oh shit. So they didn't really know that conversation that we had.
Yeah.
So they were just gonna give me my SHU term or whatever. And right there in Calipatria, it's like really, really hot, bro. So like people that are on fucking triple CMS program, they can't stay there. So I was like, I told my boy, I'm like, hey fool, I'm getting on triple CMS and I'm getting out of here before she comes back, because they have like 30 days to get you out of there.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going that route, bro. I'm getting the hell out of here, because I'm gonna try to beat her before she gets back. And that's what happened, and I ended up getting out of there. But you know what though? That was kind of a backwards like blessing in a way, because I mean, I never took psych meds or none of that stuff like that, but I always, whenever they call you in for your counseling or whatever sessions, I would always talk to them, man, and like try to figure out like why I was the way I was, why for so long that I never really felt like bad or remorse for the things that I had done. I honestly believe something was broken inside me for a long time, a very long time, bro. And it wasn't because, I mean, it wasn't until I actually realized that I was doing it to myself. I was compartmentalizing everything in my life, you know what I mean, and not letting one thing touch the next, you know what I mean? And then I would like, I don't know, man, it's weird, man. It wasn't until I actually started to like fully embrace like the rehabilitation program that I was able to turn my emotions back on and actually feel like, and allow myself to feel the things that I would. Because I mean, who wants to sit there and be miserable, bro, in prison? Because that's what that is, man. It's misery. You know what I mean? And you know, I told myself early on in my sentence, I was like, I'm not gonna let this place break me. I'm just not. You know, I seen a lot of broke, miserable people in there, and I was like, damn, I can't do that, man. I mean, I might not have the best life, but I'm still alive, so I'm gonna live it to the best I can. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a trip, man. There's a lot of heartache that goes along with that too, man. Because I sit back and I think now, like, man, I wasted so much of my life, man. I hurt so many people, and you know, before I didn't care, because I just chalked it up. That's the game, man. They're all part of the game. You know what I mean? I never went out and victimized innocent people. I never did none of that. You know what I mean? I kept it in that lane. You know what I mean? And but still, those are people too, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have those. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's dad. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it took me a long time to wrap my mind around that.
Locked up, was there any like moments of laughter, maybe like a funny moment? Because
Hey man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I mean, I've always, whether I was in prison, whether I just normal, my personality, bro, I'm real outgoing. I'm extrovert. I like to talk to people. I'm always cracking jokes, making people laugh and stuff like that. So, because I like to laugh, you know what I mean? If you're not gonna laugh, I'm gonna cry, bro. So, you know, I chose to laugh. And, you know, man, I had quite a few good friends in there that had some good times with over the years, you know. I mean, they weren't in the best of circumstances, but there were some good times, man. Like, just, you know, just humor, man. I have a couple good friends who are really funny, man, like comedian status funny.
Yeah.
And like, I dig that shit, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's always been me though. Even now to this day, me and my friends, you know, we're always, you know, trying to just live the best of life, man. Have as many laughs as we can, man, and you know, before the time runs out.
Yeah, because I mean, life's short. You know,
exactly. And I never realized that. I never really like contemplated like how brief we are, the time we are on this planet in the grand scheme of things, man. Because, you know, and to think that like I wasted almost 3 decades, man, of that time that I was given on this earth for something so meaningless, man, and so, man, you don't even know, man. I sit there and I think about it. Like I said, I never thought, I used to think about it at all. I didn't even care. It was whatever is whatever. But like I think about it now, man, and I think of like all the lost opportunities, you know, for just at life, at love, at, you know, family, friendships. I lost like the majority of my family while I was in prison, you know, and I only have like 2 uncles and an aunt left in Wyoming. I don't have anybody out here in California right now other than my fiance and my friends. You know what I mean? Oh, I have a stepbrother. Yeah, he's right here in he works actually he's in Oxnard. He works at Amazon for like 20 years. He was another one. He was like me when we were kids, acting up, drugs, doing all that stuff, and then they finally caught up to him. He did some time, got out, and then he just never went back, man. And I was amazed because he was just as bad as me. You know what I mean? And I have another little brother right now that's sitting in Tehachapi right now with life without for a murder for hire. That you know, I truly believe in my heart that he's in prison because of me, not because I got him involved in that crime, but because I influenced him without knowing the repercussions of what I was doing to him at an early age by coming around with fucking money, dope, guns, fucking whips, all that, you know what I mean? And not really realizing the impression I was leaving on him, that was what he was gonna do, he wanted to be. Because I never really understood the way he used to look up to me. I never really thought about that, you know what I mean? He was just my little brother, you know what I mean?
How many years younger is he than you?
4? Yeah, he's like 4 years younger than me. Yeah, he's been in there for 25 years now. He came like right after me, like 4 years right after me.
Did you ever bump into him in the system?
Yeah, we were cellies and shit for a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I got tattoos and shit that he did on me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Fucking, he's so talented, man. He's a musician, artist. He's working on his 6th AA right now. He's involved in the OMCP program to become an alcohol and other drug counselor. He was a lead dog trainer right there at Tehachapi, where they train dogs for service dogs or whatever. He was a lead trainer for that up until he started the OMCP thing and didn't have enough time to do both. But yeah, and like, he has real hope of getting out because he was a juvenile LWOP too. And there's some cases that just has opened up recently it allows him to get a direct order transfer back into the juvenile court system to be resentenced as a juvenile. You know what I mean? And you know, they already submitted his paperwork and everything, man. My buddy John Cesario, man, he helped me do that. He helped him do that, and took me the day that we went to file the papers. I went and met the guy that did all the legwork for him for free. You know what I mean? And I got to meet him and stuff. I would shake his hand and thank him. You know, I talked to my little brother. I just, like, every 2 or 3 days, you know what I mean? You know, I feel a great sense of responsibility for him being there. And I'm going to continue to be there for him, inside, outside. You know what I mean? Make sure he makes all the connections that he needs to, and adjust to life as well as I have out here. I'm not going to lie, I've kind of tripped on the way that how seamless my reentry back into society has been, because, man, it could have went 100 different ways. But I was fortunate to have good friends, have a good support system. Was fortunate enough that one of those friends was an employee of ARC, and he got it approved for them to give me a ride home, him and my best friend. They both came and picked me up, got me placed in ARC housing in Los Angeles, right there at Lorena House. And man, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, man, because it opened so many opportunities and resources and just things that I would have never known had I gone to any other one of them random transitional housing places that they just kind of, they give you a house, a bed to lay in, and you kind of fend for yourself, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, I owe a lot, man. I owe everything right now that I've accomplished. I mean, granted, I had to be disciplined and do the work, but you know, without ARC and without my family and friends, I know I wouldn't have had a chance, man, because it's not easy out there, bro. And you know, there's people out there that are in the same situation that I have. Maybe they didn't do as much time, but they're formerly incarcerated, and they have the same access to those resources, but they just don't know it. You know what I mean? And every person that I meet now, if I know that you did any type of time, I'm gonna try to help you, bro. I'm gonna plug you into those resources. I've already gotten like a couple guys that I've worked with out here like plugged with ARC. You know what I mean? And they were like, what, you can, yeah, I can do that. You know what I mean? All you got to do is just, you know, be serious. You know, that's all I ask, man. Just be serious about what you're telling me. I mean, I peep your actions. I see that, you know, I wouldn't be offering this if I didn't think that you would do it. But, you know, that's all I ask, bro, is just, and pay it forward.
And that's, you know, while doing these interviews and whatnot, ARC is being brought up a lot. You know, I was fortunate enough, you know, to go down to ARC. Nacho took me down, and I met Carlos Cervantes, and he was kind of gave me the rundown on the Ride Home, the Ride Home program. Would you mind sharing us, like how is it that one will go about setting up a ride if they didn't have anybody, you know, to pick them up?
Okay, well, my first suggestion is to enroll like in any type of ARC class that they're running at any facility that you're in, you know, and then that gains you access to their life coaches that come in from the streets. Like my life coach was David Amaya, awesome guy, man. And he, when I told him, look, when I get out, not if I get out, but when I get out, I want to do this. I want to work for ARC. I want to help. I want to give back. You know what I mean? So he plugged me with like the information that I needed for the Ride Home program. I mean, you can just write them, as a matter of fact. I mean, I'm pretty much anybody inside can get the address. Somebody will have it somewhere for the ARC offices right there in downtown LA. But, and just ask them, hey, look, I'm getting out at this time. They're going to ask you, you have to be within like, I think like 6 months of getting out or something like that. Or like, no, I think it's like 3 or 4. And you have to have like 2 years disciplinary free. They want to know that you're doing the work and that you're like, that you deserve to get this opportunity, because there's other people that do deserve it that won't because you're getting it. You know what I mean? So, and what you do is you just write an application to them, and you tell them a little bit about yourself and when you're getting out, and then they'll get back to you and they'll send you a number, and then you'll call and then you'll talk to them, and from there they'll schedule it. And then they'll tell you, okay, well, you're getting out on this day. There's going to be somebody at the gate to pick you up and take you to wherever it is that you need to go, whether you're going home to a loved one's house, or whether you're going to a transitional housing place, or wherever it is that you're going, they'll take you, bro. You know what I mean? It just so happened that I was going to LA. You know, and when I first was paroled, I was supposed to be going to the Francisco homes. But I was fortunate enough to have John switch me over to the Lorena house better, the ARC housing. And man, those two programs are like night and day. I mean, not to say the service that the Francisco homes is providing for men like me, because they provide you a place to stay and you know, spiritual guidance and everything like that. But they're not as hands-on, and they're not in, like ARC, man, they're from day one. Like I spent my first 2 months out going down to the ARC offices riding the bus, bro, for like 20 minutes to get down to the office, and I would just volunteer. I would be down there for hours doing whatever it is that they needed done, whether it was taking out trash, or whether it was putting chairs together or tables, or just whatever it is they needed, I did it. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I ran into so many people through there that I've known through, like Nacho, I'd seen him there. Like I could name at least 15 other guys that I did time with that I ran through there. And we're all lifers, bro. Like that's not a small thing. You know, running into 15 dudes that have done life sentence. You know, it's like, okay, that's saying something. These people they're about their business. The ARC has gotten over like 340 something laws passed, bro, for prison reform and stuff like that. And just for not just the youth, but adults, everything. Like they're with it. They have like national policy fucking division, and they got the Ride Home program, and they got the job force with Cesar Zuniga, then they got the credible messengers with Norma and Jacob, and then they have an expungement team that goes back and helps people get their crimes expunged from their records after they've been out a certain amount of time and off parole. And then there's like, it's ridiculous, bro, the things that they do. And then not only that, for people like that first get out that aren't working yet, because whether you're trying to get your paperwork straight or like me, it took me like 2 months, bro, to get my birth certificate and my social security card and all this shit like that so I could work. And they made sure that I had money in my pocket by like they're like, okay, well, take this class right here, a digital literacy class. They just teach you how to use a phone or a computer, and they pay you to do it, you know what I mean? Or they do another one for career readiness, and you go learn how to do resumes and interviews, and they bring professionals in to teach you these things, you know what I mean? And then they pay you to do it, you know what I mean? And it's like, not only that, they have like the construction cohorts where I think they're involved with like the metal workers and carpenters unions, and they'll put you through I think it's like 8 months or 9 months or something like that of training to do this job, which they do straight physical training and then the educational aspect of it as well, and they pay you to do it. You know what I mean? They're teaching you a life skill and a career path, and they're going to pay you to do it to make sure that you can live while you're learning how to live.
So it's safe to say that if you want to change, they provide everything that you need, from getting from point A to point B once you're released, to setting you up to get all your documents, setting you up with a job, teaching you how to use a phone, probably even balance your checkbook and open up a bank account. Those little things that your family members probably won't have the time, because they have their own things going on where life, they're working and raising kids and things of that nature. So
exactly, man. Man, I'm telling you, man, they're completely, their focus is to get you back to a place to where you are self-sustainable, bro. To where like they're gonna help you just reintegrate, and not only that, not just that aspect of it as well, but they're like, it's a community, bro. They have big like celebrations every month where they like rent out like whole places and for all ARC members and their families, and they provide all the food and the drinks and entertain everything, bro. And then like, because they're trying to keep it like everybody connected. It's a sense of family, community, you know what I mean? Because it's a shared experience that we all have, man, and we all understand that, how fortunate we are to be handed this opportunity again. And, you never know, like, I met quite a few of these individuals like through here that offered me different opportunities for different jobs or different things, like this right here, like Becca. I mean, I would have never known nothing about this and had I not known him, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jesse's like, man, and I've seen Jesse at his worst, and I've seen Jesse at his best, bro. You know what I mean? And Jesse's a really good person, man. Like, just like a lot of us are, man. If we're able to get a handle on our addictions and our impulses, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of good people inside in them walls, man. That just need the opportunity, but so whether out of fear or just pride or whatever, they're not willing to take that step, and that's something that you got to learn to actually change and embrace that change, embody that change, internalize it. You got to learn. You got to learn how to be humble, bro. Especially in that environment, because there's going to constantly be somebody to test you, constantly. If not for no other reason that you're doing good. You know what I mean? They want to try to drag you back down to their level. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a few close brushes like that, but every time I chose myself. I chose my family, and I was like, I'm done choosing what you people think about me, man. I'm just done with that. You know what I mean?
If you think about it, just if you would have acted on one of those issues or possible issues, you wouldn't even be here right now. No. You would be that would have set you back maybe 5 years?
Guaranteed 5 years, if not up to 15, depending on how hard or how bad I hurt somebody.
And nobody knows, it's uncertain, if these laws are going to continue the way they are.
Yeah, the political climate could shift again and those doors could close right back up, bro. And there I was. There I'll be sitting right there for the rest of my life in prison, bro. And every single time that I found myself in one of those situations, I was just like, man, bro, if I do this, I'm choosing to die in here. You know what I mean? I'm basically throwing away my only opportunity right now to go home and be free. You know what I mean? And it was too important to me. You know, it was something that I wanted to do. It was something I needed to do for myself. And, you know, it took me a long time to get there. And mostly, it took me that long because of my addiction. I was actively in my addiction. I was using heroin, speed, whatever. It didn't matter, bro. Just to get me high and have a good time and just pass the time, bro. Because what else was there to do in there? You know what I mean? But everything, that addiction led to 99% of the problems and trouble that I got into. Whether it was for somebody that I burnt, somebody I beat up, somebody we jumped on, or just, you know. And, you know, and it wasn't until I was able to get a handle on that and just, you know, take the actual NA program for what it is and, you know, work the steps and learn how to, you know, just internalize what it is they're teaching you and just not internalize it, but actually embody it and work and do it. You know what I mean? It is, had I not done that, bro, I would have never been able to kick drugs, bro, because I like doing them. I ain't gonna lie. I like getting high. You know what I mean? But now, my desire to get high is offset by my desire to be free and my desire to not let down the people that have placed their time, their effort, and their love and their energy into me. And, you know, my biggest fear right now is to disappoint them. You know what I mean? Myself as well, because, you know, I got hopes, I have dreams now that I never had before. You know what I mean? And, but, you know, that's always a fear in the back of my mind, is letting the people down that went so far out of their way to make sure that I could succeed. You know what I mean? I don't even think I'll be able to live with myself after that. Like, I wouldn't be able to look them in the eye, I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? Their opinion and of me, it matters to me now. As society as a whole, it matters to me now. I didn't used to care about none of that. Like, nothing. Like, I don't care what you thought about me or what I did. You got a problem with it, I'm right here. You know what I mean? But now I don't approach life that way. I approach life at, you know, I try to meet everybody where they're at. And if I feel that I can help you in any way, I will. You know what I mean?
And you mentioned drug addiction. Is that something that you had before going to prison, or did this?
Yeah. I came to prison for killing my connect. You know what I mean? All for dope. All because I was caught up using, abusing, and then he decided to just branch out and do some other thing. He wasn't from my neighborhood. He was from somewhere else. But because of that, because my homies left him alone for long enough while he was with me, he felt he could do other things, and that wasn't cool. And it just, one thing led to another, and he ended up being killed. You know, Sammy. His name's Sammy Sanchez, man, and he didn't deserve to die. He was actually kind of cool dude, man, to be honest with you. And, you know, it took me a long time to get there, but, you know, I regret ever agreeing to set him up. I regret actually pulling the trigger. I regret just that whole series of decisions that I made that led up to that. You know, because I was on the run. I AWOL'd from a juvenile facility. For 3 months I was out on the run when I did that. all because I was smoking weed, bro. That's part of my addiction, bro. I was in a juvenile restitution program, and I was still smoking weed, and one day they're like, hey, we're going to test you. And a dirty test, that's automatic going back to juvenile hall. So I just hopped the fence and took off. Out for 3 months, and then that happened.
So what was that, like a placement or?
Okay, it's basically the equivalent of like work furlough for adults. You know how like they don't want to take you away from your job and everything like that, but they're going to confine you. So you every day you leave, you go to work, and then you come back.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically what I did, because I got caught for discharging a firearm in a public place at somebody at like 16, and then like almost 17, and then 6 months later I got caught with another gun. And the judge, for whatever reason, man, he decided, he's like, I'm not going to put you in Colston's. I'm not going to put you in the full lockdown facility. I'm going to give you one more chance, man. And I'm going to send you to this juvenile restitution program. They call it JRP. It doesn't exist no more, but it's basically work furlough for teenagers. They let you go, leave every day, go to work, and come back. And if you had restitution, you paid it. If you didn't, you didn't. I didn't have restitution, but I was only there for like not even a month, bro. And I was already over the fence. And that decision right there was, man, that changed the course of my life right there.
And what county was this in?
Ventura County.
Ventura County.
Yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm Ventura.
Yeah, so yeah, you got some breaks, yeah, because discharging a firearm and then getting caught with a gun 6 months later, yeah, the judge was...
Yeah, they literally only put me on 6 months and formal probation for that first incident, because it was like my first time ever being arrested, you know what I mean? And then they let me release for my parents, and then at that point I wasn't even living with my parents no more. They just came and picked me up, you know what I mean? And then, because I got kicked out by my stepdad, but yeah, it was... And then like literally like 3 days before my probation was over, I got caught with another one. I was like, man, you guys are serious? You kidding me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So looking back on the breaks that you were given at that time, do you think if they would have been a little bit harder on you, things would have played out differently?
You know, I can't say that my behavior would have changed, or my future would have changed, because I wouldn't have been in certain places to do certain things, but that doesn't mean that the outcome wouldn't have been any different, because I was, like I said, I was out in the streets, and like, I wasn't just like walking around in a homeboy costume, bro. I was out there gunning fools down, bro, and I would have either been dead or busted for another murder, probably. You know what I mean? And that's facts. I came to realize that a long time ago. I'm actually probably a little fortunate that I did go to prison when I did, because I had some enemies out there that wanted me dead. And had they figured out how to get me before I got busted, I probably would have been dead. You know? You know, and man, it's fortunate, bro. Like, for real, it's just like the weirdest way that something can turn into a blessing, you know, but it's all perspective, man. It's how you look at it.
So do you think, do you feel that or think that you went to prison to find a better version of yourself?
I went to prison for all the victims I created, to pay my price to society, but along the way, I found myself. And it was, you know, by trial and error. I stumbled a lot along the way. You know what I mean? But everything that I went through, all the breaks, all the good breaks, all the bad breaks, bro, they made me into the person that I am today, man. And the person that I am today, I mean, if I knew somebody like that, I would be proud to have him as a friend. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be ashamed to be associating with that person. Like, I no longer, I don't associate with anybody that isn't doing something positive with their life or in the lives of others, bro. Because, like, I promised myself a long time ago, I'm never going to create another victim in this world as long as I live. Never. I'll be willing to be victimized rather than to victimize somebody else now, because I know, you know, I'm not just hurting that person. I'm hurting that person's family. I'm hurting, you know, the community. I'm hurting just society as a whole, man. You know, my neighborhood, like, I had people in fear to go into the streets because I was in them. Like, that's not cool. Come on, man. I don't want to be known for something like that. I'd rather be known for something like, hey, that's that guy that he helps people fucking get housing, or he'll help you, you know, connect you with resources for clothing or housing or, you know, anything, you know. I would much rather that be remembered like that, you know. So, I mean, I know I got a lot of work to do to diminish my past, but, you know, I'm willing to do the work, and I'm willing to make the sacrifices that, you know, a lot of people aren't willing to make, you know, or they're just not ready to make. I won't say not willing, just not ready, you know. Because I ain't gonna lie, I enjoyed that. Like, I wasn't just addicted to drugs, bro. I was addicted to the actual criminal lifestyle itself. Just everything, like getting over, willing and dealing, or I came up, or just all that, bro. You know what I mean? Just all that, man. And it's so silly to think about, sit there and be like, man, I was like, that was my biggest achievements, is like how I got over on this fool today, or man, I came up on a sack, or come on, man. Like, what kind of fucking life goals are you setting in your life that was like the highlight of your day or your year? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't until like I actually started to grow up. I mean, with age comes maturity as well, and you start to look at the world differently around you too. But, you know, you can still be old as hell and still stuck in that same rut. You know, you have to be willing to open your mind enough to see the value in another way of life. You know what I mean? And I never really considered, like, not that I dismissed it, but I just never considered like the value of being like a normal citizen and going to work, because I was too caught up having fun doing what I was doing. You know what I mean? But once I actually sat there and I thought about it, I said, man, what's so bad about that, bro? Like, for reals, you surrounded by your loved ones, respected by your community, and you respect yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I never had a scrap of self-worth and respect when I was like out there acting up, because I didn't value my life or anybody else's, mind you. Nobody else's. Like, you could get it, bro, straight up. But now it's like I value not just the opportunities placed before me, the chances that I've been given, the people in my life, you know what I mean, the job that I have now, you know, the potential career path in front of me. You know, all that stuff means something to me now, to where before it never did. I just didn't consider it, because I didn't know it. And I never really took an interest in investigating that aspect. You know what I mean? I just kind of like, to me, a normal citizen was just kind of in the background. Try not to hit them when you're shooting at the other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I considered them. I was like, they were just background noise.
Yeah. Collateral damage if they did get hit.
And if they did get hit, it was like, damn, that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a possibility, bro. But yeah, I did a lot of maturing, bro. I did a lot of work on myself. Like, those classes, man, there's some really good classes that they teach now, man. Like, that Criminal Gangs Anonymous class, it's the whole thing is just based upon the addiction to the criminal lifestyle. They use the same 12-step format that they use for NA and AA and apply it to the criminal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And plus addiction for drugs and all that stuff too as well. But that class and that DRP, the ISUDT class, intense substance use something therapy. Basically, it's a cognitive behavioral therapy class. You know what I mean? And that shit was good. That was a good one too, man. And like Gogi, that's another good one. It just teaches you all these different tools, man. And maybe not all the tools in all the books are right for you, but I guarantee, man, if you really seriously contemplate and take what they're trying to teach you, you're going to get a couple of good things out of each one. And you take what works for you, and you leave the rest behind for somebody else to use, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, I met some really good people. I've even had officers that knew me from back in the worst of it. That right before I paroled, man, it was like, man, that's you, Hampton? I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? It's like, what the, like, how long you been here? I'm like, oh, like 4 years. And like, huh? It's like, man, when's the last time you were in the hole? Oh, like 11 years ago? That fool was like, what? No way. And then he started talking to my teacher for that DRP class for the cognitive behavioral therapy, and she was like, man, this dude he's bright. He fucking not only is on his shit, but he helps everybody around him, you know what I mean? And, you know, and when that got back to me, I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, she was telling me this stuff that I couldn't believe it, bro. Like, and it gave me like a sense of accomplishment and pride, man. Like, you know what? Not just my peers or like they see the change, but like everybody else, you know what I mean? And it made an impact on me, like, man, it gave me a sense of purpose, like, okay, you know what? If I can do that within this small environment and setting, and like, you know, who's to say what I can do when I get out, you know what I mean? It's gonna be completely within my control of how the world's gonna see me from here on out, you know what I mean? I mean, they're always gonna be able to Google my name and see what I did in my past, but, you know, I want them to remember me for what I've done since I've gotten out, you know what I mean?
And I definitely want to get into all of that right now. I think this will be a good point right now to leave off the audience for part one, and we could go ahead and do part two. Yeah. I want to go ahead and thank Jeremy, you know, for taking time out of his day to, you know, to share his journey with us. And like I said around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it, it's lights out. And with that, we're out.
That's right.